Modern stock car oval racing has adopted a playoff elimination system over the past 12 years to crown its champion. Beginning in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2014, 16 drivers were pit against one another in a 4-round system. The first 3 rounds, 3 races apiece. After 3 races in each round, 4 drivers would get eliminated. Races 3, 6, and 9, leading us to a winner-take-all, if you will, Game 7 moment type of race where the winner of that race, or the highest finishing remaining championship car, won all of the spoils and took home the championship. In essence, the driver could win once during the regular season to make their way into the playoffs, win 3 races during the playoffs, or get enough points to get to the final race, and then potentially not even have to win that final race, just finish better than 3 cars, and that's how you won a championship in modern oval stock car racing. Since then, the secondary series, the Truck and Xfinity series, have adopted this system as well, and other forms of racing have either had or will have playoff systems moving forward. Most notable example being the NHRA with bracket-style racing, of course. But other oval series are beginning to pick this up as well. And as such, sim racing. Over the past 5 years since the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically league racing in particular, has picked up this system as well. Leagues have begun to adopt their own playoff systems that vary in points, standings, in bonus points, in methods of making it in, and methods of staying in the playoffs, and methods of winning the championship. So be it. Many leagues on ovals have adopted this playoff elimination system over the years and made their own tweaks to it. And such is the case here in the Challenger Cup Series, where 16 drivers entered, 4 drivers remain, and 1 tonight will leave Pocono Raceway as a champion. With that, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual Pocono Mountains and Pocono Raceway for race 17, the Season 1 championship race for the Challenger Cup Series. My name is Dawson Wise, glad to be joining you from the broadcast booth high atop Pocono Raceway, and looking forward to an electric night of championship racing at the Tricky Triangle. Bit of an extended pre-race for you here tonight. Wanted to give a chance to set the scene, set the storyline for tonight's championship race. I want to tell you how all 4 drivers got here. I want to tell you the game plan for each of the 4 on how they can win, their best method of winning tonight's championship, and just want to make sure we give a little bit of extra pep, a little bit of extra focus on the fact that this is a championship race. The Challenger Cup Series will crown 3 champions in 2025. 1 in here in Season 1, 1 in the second half of the NASCAR calendar in Season 2, and then a combination grand champion after the final race of the season at Phoenix Raceway later on in the season. I'll get to that towards the end of the night as we start to discuss where we go from here. But we first have to crown 1 champion. The first half of the NASCAR calendar, the first Challenger Cup Series season, comes to an end here tonight in Pocono, and what a championship 4 it is when you look at it. Arguably 4 of the best cars, 4 of maybe the best 7 or 8 cars in the field, have made their way through the gauntlet, have either won a race or have gotten enough points to get to this spot and now have a chance to win a Challenger Cup Series championship. Let's go through all 4. Let's give you the storylines and get you ready for the championship race tonight here in Pocono. We will start with the most dominant driver of the season. I don't think there's much of a doubt that Harold Watkins has been the best car on track in the Challenger Cup Series for much of this first season here in 2025. Coming into tonight, he is the one of only 3 drivers with multiple wins, and he is the winningest driver in the series with 4 victories to his name. He started the season with a victory in Daytona, winning the Bud Shootout and the season opener in back-to-back weeks, and followed it up with 3 more wins, 2 of them coming here over the last several weeks in the playoffs. He won at Homestead during the regular season, he won at North Wilkesboro to close round number 1, and he won at Michigan 2 weeks ago to close the second round, looking to close tonight with his 5th win and a championship victory for Harold Watkins in the 3. He has the most wins, he has the most stage wins, he has the most points, he has the most laps led. He leads in almost every category in the series, and as such, the odds-on pick to win tonight's Challenger Cup Series championship. And I don't think that is an exaggeration to say that coming into tonight's race. For Harold Watkins, you think back during the course of the season, had several different types of wins, pure speed, strategy, late pass, Daytona obviously is plate racing, that's a whole different ball game, short track. He won on an intermediate 2 weeks ago in Michigan. He won at Homestead, a different style of intermediate, so he's kind of won on everything and now looks to tackle another unique facility here in Pocono Raceway as he looks to capture a Challenger Cup Series championship to open 2025. Second up, John Velocity, the runner-up, let's call him. Last season's Challenger Cup Series runner-up, John Velocity, did not have the start to the season that he wanted here in season number 1 of 2025. It was off to a rough start, not necessarily a bad start, but some bad luck combined with just not getting the finishes, the wins that he had expected to get, had him perhaps doubting whether or not he could make it back to the championship 4 and move forward into another opportunity to win a championship here in this series. Although now he has found himself right back in the mix. A win at Texas earlier in the season, and a win, a few weeks ago in Nashville mark the 2 wins on the season for John Velocity in the 84, a car that has come on strong and arguably peaked at the right time. Coming here into this championship race, you could say that he's running his best laps at the end of the season, which for a driver in a championship fight in an elimination format, you could honestly really use that at this point in the season. For Velocity, again, maybe not the stats that he anticipated. 2 wins, 1 stage win on the season for him this season. And again, just happened to find the speed at the right time in Nashville, found a victory, managed to lock himself in to this round of 4, and is been able to carry some momentum into this race, looking to do 1 spot better. That sting of finishing second in that final race last season, and especially in the manner that he did it, to lose it by just a little bit, certainly still sour in the mouth of John Velocity as he looks to recapture glory here tonight in the Challenger Cup Series and win a Challenger Cup Series championship. Let's move on to driver number 3, and as of right now, the last remaining driver of the 4 that is in, we'll talk about that storyline in a moment. It is GT Irizarry in the 14 machine, and a bit of an interesting season for GT Irizarry. Again, a guy that had a good start to the year, captured a win at Phoenix Raceway earlier in the first stop here in the calendar year of 2025. Of course, we'll go there in November for the championship race of Season 2. But GT Irizarry captured a strategy win at Phoenix, made a strategy call, was able to get to victory lane, put himself in the playoffs, but did not win a race after that. Did not win a race in the playoffs. Simply captured enough points between stages and race finishes to get himself into a position now to win a championship and potentially capture the glory here in Season 1 and steal it away from a couple of drivers above him. Irizarry, often a strategy-based driver, but again, towards the end of the season, we've seen the raw speed come underneath that car as well, to a point where he is appearing to be peaking here late in the playoffs, looking for the elusive win that could win him a Challenger Cup Series championship. A guy that, again, you look at the stats, Harold Watkins is going to poke out in the stats, maybe not as much for GT Irizarry, but is a stage point getter every week, is a stage winner once this season, is a winner once this season. Certainly the accolades to be in this Final 4 as Irizarry looks to capture his first Challenger Cup Series championship. The final driver in the Final 4 is the 13 of Travis Everett. Now, as of right now, he is not in the field. We will keep an eye on that storyline, although he only has about 90 seconds to be in before he would miss the grid for tonight's race. Everett, again, another 1 win, 1 stage win driver. A driver that arguably should have 2 wins. He won at Talladega back in April and probably should have won Bristol 2 weeks before, was the fastest short run car and was unfortunately beaten to the punch late in the going of that one. But won at Talladega, got his redemption 2 weeks later. That's what got him into the playoffs, and since then, Everett has found top 5, top 6 speed ever since in that 13 machine. 1 win, 1 stage win for him coming into tonight's championship 4. Managed to point his way in after Michigan by 11 points and work his way into an opportunity for a championship. Now, he's currently not in the field with under 60 seconds to go, but did want to shout out, at least if he is not able to make the field this season, that Travis Everett has had in the 13 machine, has been top 5 routinely for the last 5 to 6 weeks in the playoffs, has put himself in position and got that win at Talladega to at least earn himself a victory in this year's Challenger Cup Series season. We look forward, if he is not able to make the field tonight, to what he can do going forward into season number 2. That sets the stage. It is 4 drivers. As of right now, it is 3 drivers for 1 championship at the Pocono Raceway. As qualifying gets wrapped up, it's time to put cars on the grid for the final time in Season 1 in 2025. Race format here tonight at the Pocono Raceway. It is going to be 72 laps total for tonight's race. It is going to be a stage break at the conclusion of lap number 18, a quarter of the way into tonight's event, as we get ready to get on the grid. 72 laps, no tire set limit. There'll be a little bit less fuel. We'll expect some pit stops throughout the course of tonight's race. I'm anticipating about 2. If the last few races have been any indication, maybe 3. We'll have to see how many laps that they can make. I anticipate at least 2 to 3 pit stops, though, over the course of tonight's race. Let's get down trackside. It's time to put cars on the grid at Pocono Raceway, and it is foggy again. The same problem we had back at Nashville a few weeks ago. The fog has overtaken the racetrack. We'll see if that clears up over the course of the first few laps. But let's put cars on the grid. It's time to go. It's time to crown a champion for the first time here in the Challenger Cup Series in 2025. On the pole for this final race of Season 1 here in the Championship 4, it is Andrew Little, a playoff driver from this season. Was not able to capture a spot in the Final Four, but will start on pole for this one from Pocono. To his outside, it's the first of our playoff drivers. It is Harold Watkins in the 3, the points leader, the winningest driver in the series. Looks to capture a Challenger Cup Series championship tonight at Pocono. On the inside of row number 2, it's James Coytrone, a driver who put in a valiant effort in this season's playoffs. Coming up just a little bit short last week at Michigan, but starts third tonight in Pocono. And another championship driver to his outside will be John Velocity, starting nose to tail with his championship rival tonight in Harold Watkins. Velocity will roll from position number 4. Row 3, another championship driver. It's GT Irizarry in the 14 machine. He'll start from position number 5, and it's Stephen Luttrell in the 36 on the outside of row 3 in position number 6. On row 4, Rusty Modesty in the 6 machine, that green, white, and red Toyota. He'll start from position number 7. It's another start for Cody Eldred in the Challenger Cup Series. He'll start from the outside of row 4 in 8th. Row 5, Brandon Beauchamp in the 15 machine. He'll roll from position number 9. And playoff driver Justin Malarkey from this season will start from the outside of row 5 in position number 10. Row 6, Greg Bourbonier in the 00 will start from 11th with Christian Strader alongside, and the first driver to not take a time. And the final driver in the field tonight, Mike Martino, the 3rd in the 75. 72 laps on the board at Pocono, and this time it's to crown a champion. One stage break tonight, that being at lap number 18. And we will get the volume turned on here. It was almost a catastrophic mistake. I'm actually turn that down a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Until then, we are just about ready to go. Andrew Little will lead the field to the green flag for the first time tonight. And he will be chased by a host of playoff drivers. Some potential problems here for James Coytrone. Is not sure what's going on with the 38. We'll keep an eye on this on the pace lap. Looks like Coytrone's figured out the issues. Coming back up to the inside of row number 2 to take his spot. A little restless is GT Irizarry, the playoff driver. I would be too in a race of this caliber. I've been in a Final Four before. I've been in this position. If I'm one of these drivers, this pace lap, first of all, feels eternal. You just want to get the race going, and then even that, the first little bit of the race feels like it drags on and on and on and on until you get to that run where you can capture a championship. And all of a sudden, it's like things are moving at light speed. It's a unique experience. It's a fun one. It's exhilarating. Surely, it will be a lot of fun for these drivers tonight. One final time, Season 1 of 2025 in the Challenger Cup Series into the Geico Restart Zone. Green flag is in the air. We're underway from Pocono. Lap 1 in the books, and boy, do I have a storyline for the viewers at home. Harold Watkins in the 3 has experienced catastrophic connection issues, it appears, on the opening lap of this championship race. Now, a long way to go if he's able to reconnect. Now that we anticipate that Watkins will get back on track and try to get back into this one, but at a track like Pocono, will it be enough? Will he have enough cautions? Will he have enough opportunities to get back into tonight's race? What a devastating blow that would be to Harold Watkins if he is not able to compete for this championship. Has been the most dominant driver in the series all season, and now finds himself as far behind the 8 ball as a driver can get, not even 5 miles into this championship race. Up front, it's all Andrew Little right now here at the front of the field, chased by John Velocity. GT Irizarry waiting back in the wings in 4th. Right behind Stephen Luttrell in the 3rd position. Coytrone, you saw that big save for him on lap 1. He has dropped all the way to 8th position on the opening lap of tonight's race. And you might very well be down to 2 drivers here for a chance at a championship. And again, I mean, that is devastating for Harold Watkins. If that truly is the case, it is a connection issue, which it certainly appears to me as if it is. Boy, that is as tough as things get. He's just now coming off pit road. I believe he's going to be 2 laps down, looking to maybe go 3. And boy, that is so tough. So we'll keep an eye on Harold Watkins now. The good part will be if he does stay the only car laps down, he'll get 1 lap back under the caution flag. We'll see. Race control now with a decision to make on whether or not to give him both laps back at the stage caution for a connection error, seeing that he is a championship driver. We'll wait and see. We'll relay that decision to you when it is made under our commercial break on stage 1 to see if Harold Watkins is allowed back on the lead lap. He would only be 1 lap down, so even 1 more caution would bring him right back into the race anyway. But we'll see if race control does decide to give him those laps back. Meanwhile, Velocity's caught little, but these 3rd and 4th place cars have actually caught these 2 leaders as well. And actually, Rusty Modesty is in the fight now as well in the 5th position. At least he was for a moment. He will fade just a little here in turn number 3. And it's GT Irizarry coming forward to 3rd, and it's a battle now for the 2nd spot and the provisional lead in the championship here on lap 5. Now, a long way to go, including a stage break. Now, you might be asking, do stage points count? You know, can you win by stage points if you're a championship driver? No. It is the highest finishing of the 4 drivers. The stage points do not matter in this race. We will have a break, but the points will not count towards the championship. It is the highest finishing driver of the 4 in tonight's final race that will win the Challenger Cup Series championship. Andrew Little still up front. Velocity beating on the back bumper of the 68. GT Irizarry is hounding both of these cars, and Luttrell still hanging around as well. Very respectable effort for the 36 so far, looking for his best finish of this season as he runs back in 4th. Modesty, Eldred, Malarkey, Strader, Coitrone, the remainder of the top 5. And I'm actually only displaying Harold Watkins as a 1 lap down on my timing and scoring. Now he's a minute and a half behind, which, yeah, would mean he would be almost 2 laps down. So perhaps he got a little bit lucky. He may be able to hang on. If he can hold on here and not go 2 laps down, he may be able to get that single lap back, come back on the lead lap, and drive back to the front, try to get back in the hunt. Now, by the time he gets that lap back, there will only be about 50 laps to go in this race by the time we go back green following the stage break. So he won't have a ton of time to get all the way through the field, and judging on where those cars towards the rear are, about 5-6 seconds back. But they'll have pit cycles as well. I imagine Watkins, I mean, now behind the 8 ball, certainly not where he wants to be. You heard him last week when we talked to him, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, after Michigan. When we talked to him after the race, it was, you know, you want to be in position sooner rather than later. He wanted to put himself in position and then run his race, and he did with his qualifying effort tonight. Best of the championship 4 drivers, put himself outside of the front row in a position to compete, if not dominate this race, and make everyone else beat him. Now, though, certainly a bit of a situation that throws a complete wrinkle, a wrench in his strategy for tonight's race. Up front, still Andrew Little leading the way. You got to imagine Velocity and Irizarry not pushing hard in the slightest with just 7 laps complete. Obviously, both running to be at the end of this race. Velocity, though, has put some pressure on Andrew Little here a couple of times over the first 7 laps, trying to get the race lead and perhaps put himself in a position to win this opening stage and put himself in a position to lead the field around this racetrack and make the field beat him. Grabbing a drink of water real quick. At lap 8 on the board. Again, 18 in this opening stage. Velocity runs a little bit wide there in turn number 1. It's Irizarry to his back bumper. That is for 2nd. Notably, Watkins is running about dead even. He's running about the same times as the leaders right now, so hopefully for him, he continues that pace. He is pretty well about 10 seconds out in front of the leaders right now. And if that stays the case, he will certainly get that 1 lap back. He'll be the lucky dog under the caution, and it will essentially be as if that network issue was forgotten as this race goes on. Lap 9 on the board. These ones are flying by. They're under a minute for each lap. About 53 seconds a lap here at Pocono Raceway. Last lap, not a ton of fall off. 53.7 for the leader. For the lead, here comes John Velocity. Goes to the inside. Little on that defensive outside line will maintain. And Irizarry will try to get up alongside the 84. Velocity trying to throw the door in his face, but with it only being lap 9, thinks better of it, jumps back to the inside, and Irizarry may take position number 2. What would be the provisional lead for the championship here on lap number 9. Again, very early, still a stage break, still a lot to unfold in this race, but for the time being, Irizarry now goes to the point of the championship 4. With that pass on John Velocity. Andrew Little continues to lead. Coming back to lap 10, 9 laps to go in stage number 1. We're halfway through the only short stage of tonight's race. And it continues to be Andrew Little. He has led every lap so far. Trying to go away from this season with a bang, trying to get a win. Got a win earlier in the season at Martinsville. Trying to make it 2 here at the Pocono Raceway to end his season off the way he wants to. Back through turn 2, battles on for second. Irizarry's backed off his pace a little bit, and Velocity's drove right back up to his back bumper, and Steven Luttrell hanging around in this battle. As he tries to, again, to get his best finish of the season, looking for a podium to end off his season. And so far, so good for the 36, running position number 4, right on the back bumper of John Velocity. You got to be a little bit careful here if you're Luttrell. Don't want to do too much on the back of a championship driver, but for the time being, running just outside that top 3 position. Watkins is about 15 seconds in front of the leaders right now, so if this pace continues to hold in the next 7 laps, he'll be back on the lead lap and right back in the fight to win this championship. As the leaders work through the tunnel turn, let's check on where Watkins is off of turn 3 down the front stretch. So a big gap for Watkins here. A lot of breathing room. Doesn't have to force it too much. Can mostly manage. Try to keep his equipment underneath him. Not force it. Got to mentally work here as well. When you get behind the 8 ball that early, and especially when it's something uncontrollable. You know, when it's something controllable, you get loose, you wreck, you know, something like that. When it's something you can control, it's a little bit different. Obviously, you still have to recover mentally from that, but it's a little bit different recovery. When it's uncontrollable, sometimes that can throw you completely off your game. There's no, oh man, I messed up, like I got to make up for it. It's, you know, something happened that is totally not my fault. And, you know, it can mess with your psyche a little bit in the race car, and certainly Watkins is dealing with that right now. But over the course of the season, he's won 4 races, and he's been behind the 8 ball before. Was not leading at Homestead when he won that race. At times was not leading at North Wilkesboro. 2 weeks ago at Michigan, didn't lead a lot at all in that race. Dominated towards the end, but at some points in that race did not look like he had a winning car, and managed to find a way to victory lane. Daytona, I mean, of all things, you know, plate racing, you don't have a lot of control over that. So certainly at times this season, Watkins has been behind the 8 ball before. It just has not been to this degree in terms of the stakes that are now before him. GT Irizarry is second. Velocity still third. With a bit of distance between them now, as the field works down the Long Pond straightaway here on lap 13. Next time by 5 laps to go in the opening stage. And Irizarry wants the lead. Not going to force it, obviously. But does want to get around this 68 of Andrew Little and get a stage win here in stage 1. Again, it does not count for points, but still would like to be the leader when that caution flag flies. Be able to dictate pit road, be able to kind of have empty track in front of him. And focus on repping, getting some laps. And again, it's a big mental game. Trying to take a little bit of a mental break. Not in the sense that he's, you know, zoning out during the race, but in the sense that it's not all 110% all the time. You can relax for at least a brief moment in one of these championship races. Irizarry hounding Andrew Little. Velocity's dropped about 6/10 off this battle. Luttrell a little further back than that. Another drink of water for me. This is going to be a bit of a longer one tonight. The extended pre-race, a little bit of an extended post-race as well, coming up later. And if you notice, and I'm sure you'll notice this over the course of tonight's race, if you'll notice, when they get really close to the back of the car in front of them, they're running in line, you're going to see them lift a lot more than you might be used to. The next-gen race car got a big update a few weeks ago now that basically made it drive like the real-world counterpart in terms of handling and dirty air and all that, all that jazz that we didn't really, when we had it on the service, it was there, but it was not as strong as you would think and as we see in real life, like, at Pocono, for example, this past weekend with Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, faster car, could not get by because Briscoe was doing a good job taking away his air, and Hamlin was not able to find a line that got him around the 19. That is now how these cars act in the simulator as well. There's a lot of dirty air. There's a lot of bad wake off the back of these cars, and it struggles with handling. And an early pit stop for GT Irizarry, a strategy flip, and in character. GT Irizarry at Phoenix calls a strategy call, pits a little bit different time, does a little bit different thing, comes out, leads a bunch of laps, wins the race at the end. Tonight, going to do the same thing. Several laps here before lap number 18 is complete. He'll come to pit road now. Will John Velocity do the same? Harold Watkins won't because he doesn't want to risk going a lap down, but will John Velocity now mirror the 14 on this pit strategy? In fact, my bigger question is, can Irizarry get off pit road without being a lap down? That's going to create a bit of a havoc moment here for Harold Watkins if Irizarry goes one lap down. Irizarry's off pit road, so he shouldn't have to worry about it down towards turn 1. Velocity, does he come to pit road? No, sir. Velocity stays out. The pits will close. Christian Strader working his way to the front, and you kind of wonder what could have been for Christian Strader if he had not been in a must-win position at Charlotte. Had a really good round 2, but he missed the North Wilkesboro race in round 1, and it essentially got him eliminated. But now looks like one of the faster cars on track. Can you imagine what could have been? He is very good here at Pocono. He's had a good season, but a few missed races have unfortunately put him out of the championship hunt. But he looks for 4th on Rusty Modesty right now, and Luttrell is in the crosshairs also. We'll come off turn 3. We'll come back to the stage white flag for Andrew Little, who has run a really good stage 1. We'll look to finish it off. Ooh, Strader. I must have missed that here on lap 18. He must have gotten the outside wall. We'll take a look back at it in a moment. My apologies. I was looking at timing and scoring. Strader's gotten the outside wall and had a problem here on the last lap of stage number 1. GT Irizarry up ahead of the leaders. He's just now out of turn 2. He will stay on the lead lap. And a sigh of relief from the camp of Harold Watkins. Andrew Little back through turn 2, headed towards turn 3. We'll work through the flat, wide turn 3, off onto the front straightaway. He will come off turn 3 and down to the start-finish line. Stage 1 complete. It's Andrew Little coming away with a final stage victory here in season number 1. We'll wait for all 5 to cross the line. There's Modesty, and the caution flag will come out in just a moment, I believe. There it is. Caution flag is out. Stage 1 is complete at the Pocono Raceway. Let's go back very quickly and check what happened to Christian Strader that I very obviously missed, and that is on me. I'll take responsibility for that one. Oh, it happened earlier than that. Oh, yeah, it happened back here towards the stage white flag. Let's go take a look here back at Christian Strader. And I got no, crashed thing for this. Let's see what happens here. These get loose. Oh, Rusty Modesty pounds the outside wall, collects Christian Strader, and knocks him sideways. Now, get a fast repair is offered here in the Challenger Cup Series, so Strader will be able to come to pit road and fix that car, but some contact between the 6 29 after the 6 got in the outside wall. That's what happened there. The luckiest man on track, I thought, was Harold Watkins. And he's gone again. And another wrinkle in tonight's race. Bad to worse for the championship favorite, as he is not currently on track being scored. Will likely go another 1 to 2 laps down. And not with only 53 laps to go, that may very well be a death blow for Harold Watkins. We're going to hit a quick commercial break. We're going to check on Harold Watkins' situation. We'll get more updates after the break. It's Challenger Cup Series Championship night here at Pocono Raceway. You're watching PGR eSports live coverage on the Pocono Mountains. We'll be right back after this.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run! Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey is prime!
this season, we are hydrated!
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on! Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway as we rejoin you here, getting ready to go green for the final stage, if you will, of tonight's race at Pocono and the championship race for Season 1 of the Challenger Cup Series, live on PGR eSports. I'm Dawson Wise. If you're just joining us, you missed a lot. And, you know, at Pocono, you might say, well, how have you missed a lot if it's Pocono? Well, let me tell you, we might have a contender here tonight for bad break of the year, bad breaks, plural, of the year in the Challenger Cup Series, as championship favorite Harold Watkins has undergone serious network issues tonight, connection issues that have forced him not once but twice out of tonight's race session. And as such, he had, what in the world was going on there? And this is what I was wondering from race control as we get ready to go back green. Harold Watkins lost several laps, and over the course of these two hiccups, he had just gotten the lucky dog at the end of stage 1 and lost connection again at the end of stage 1 and went another couple laps down, so he has now scored 3 laps down. He is getting one of those back, and it looks like the lights have gone back on atop the pace truck, which means he might be able to get all of these laps back, or at the very least get to 1 lap down. It'll be interesting to see how long this caution flag period goes and whether he's able to get both of them back. But he might be able to at least get one back, maybe both. They might allow him to get both here. And look, there are going to be people, I'm sure, that argue favoritism, that argue, why are we doing it? You know, it's for one guy. Like, okay, sorry, for a second I thought the field, was coming to pit road like we were red flagging the race. But no, you know, people might argue, you know, why are we doing it for one guy? Like, you know, if it was anybody else, would they do it? They're doing it because he is a championship driver. They're doing it because it is an uncontrollable. If it was something controllable, if it was a crash, if it was, you know, missed the start because, you know, he was late or something like that, then it'd be a little bit different. But the fact that he was here on time, he put his car on the outside pole, and he's a championship Ford driver, you're going to make a few concessions over the course of a race session if a driver deals with network issues. Oftentimes, us drivers cannot control these connection issues. I've had them before here in the broadcast booth and on track as a driver too. I've dealt with the same thing. In this case, this is a very rare situation. If this was race 6 and I don't have the schedule pulled up, if this was a race, you know, the race at Darlington back in like April or May, or if this was, you know, Daytona back in February, obviously it'd be a little bit different. It's the regular season. You've got 16 more chances to race. It's a little bit different situation. This is the final race of the season. This is a championship eligible driver that is dealing with issues that are not by any of his doing, and now is being allowed by race control to get those laps back. So that's what we understand is going on right now. The lights will come back on. They're going to give him all 3, and again, this is completely fair. He had just gotten the lucky dog. He was going to be back on the lead lap. I want to emphasize that very clearly for those of you that are just joining us. He was 1 lap down early in the race. He blinked out on lap 1. He was gone. He came back. He was only 2 laps down. Excuse me, 1 lap down. He got the lap back at the end of the stage. He lost connection again. Now he'll be able to get this other lap back. He'll get back on the lead lap as he would have been regardless, and he'll have an opportunity to race for a championship. Now, if we get into the green flag run here, if this race doesn't see another caution flag, which, you know, it very well could go green from here to the end of tonight's race, it obviously would be a little bit different scenario. You're not going to stop the race to give him laps back. They didn't, as it was during stage 1 when he blinked out. But you know, obviously you're not going to stop the race. But while we have a caution flag, they're going to allow him to get those laps back. He'll come around here one more time. GT Irizarry, look out, look out, look out. Oh boy. I'm not sure if that was by design, but that was as close as you could have gotten right there. And that would have been 2 playoff drivers. Oh, my goodness. Imagine how crazy that would have been. So the lights are now out atop the pace truck. Now we'll give it another shot, and we'll re-rack the field for you here on 1 lap to go. You see the drivers pulling up into formation. That means we are going back green when the field comes back around here at the Pocono Raceway. It's GT Irizarry that came off pit road first and will lead the field back to green. He has chosen the outside lane for this restart. It'll be Andrew Little to his inside that starts from second. It'll be John Velocity starting position number 3 with Stephen Luttrell in 4th. Row 3, it's Rusty Modesty and Cody Eldred. And it's Brandon Beauchamp in 7th, Justin Malarkey 8th, James Coitreau 9th, Christian Schrader 10th, Mike Martino 11th. Last car on track as of this moment is Harold Watkins in 12th. He now has a gauntlet to get through. He's only got about 48 laps to do it, and probably, I don't even know how many pit cycles, maybe 1, maybe 2 at this point, to make up spots, get back to the front, and potentially win himself a championship. In front of him, though, is 2 championship rivals looking to drive away, put as much distance between themselves and the 3 as possible. 48 laps to go in Season 1 here of the Challenger Cup Series in 2025, and it's GT Irizarry using strategy on pit road once again to take less fuel, to have a shorter pit stop, and to exit pit road with the lead and control of his own destiny in this championship race at the Pocono Raceway. John Velocity looking to take it from him. Harold Watkins looking for the comeback of the century. Green flag back in the air. We are racing once again from Pocono. It's a good start for Irizarry. He is off and running, and we will watch out back as that 3 goes to work. He was fastest in practice. He was second fastest in the qualifying session, and now looks for what would be an all-time comeback here tonight at Pocono after the issues he has had to come back and find a way to win this race and win this championship. Would be unreal if he is able to pull it off here tonight in Pocono. The tunnel turn. It is GT Irizarry continuing to lead the way with Andrew Little in behind him. Steven Luttrell in behind both of them. We're going to go back out to this wider camera angle as Irizarry works through that flat turn 2. Oh man, Luttrell deep into turn 3. Lose a little bit of ground on exit as Velocity chases all three of those cars to the front. Brandon Beauchamp is up to position number 5. How about the speed out of the 15 here on the short run as he enters the top 5 in the High Rock Chevrolet. And look out back. Watkins taking his time. He's up to 11 to pass Mike Martino on the start. That's as far as he's gotten a couple laps into this restart. Irizarry up front can control his destiny here in this race. And that 14 going to break draft, going to snake a little bit here down the back straightaway. The Long Pond straightaway make it. As he looks to hold off Andrew Little, looks to be the fastest car in this race. And Steven Luttrell, who comes on pretty strong here at the beginning of these runs. We get back to the line, 46 laps to go in Season 1. And they'll go by pretty quickly. They're running about 53-second laps. They will go by pretty quickly as we get into the later portions of this race. Irizarry continues to lead. Again, snaking all the way to the yellow line, puts 2 tires on the apron, comes back up. Jumps back out to the wall and then enters turn 2. He's trying to break that front draft that he's giving off the back of his car onto Andrew Little's car that's kind of towing him along. He's trying to break that. He'll do it again here, I imagine, down the front stretch. We saw this on Sunday in the NASCAR Cup Series race. We'll see it again throughout the night here as Irizarry again drops down all the way towards that bottom lane, tries to break draft, will go all the way to the checkered paint, put 2 tires on it, and then come back up. And so far it's been successful. It's added about a half-tenth to his lead over the past lap and a half. Take a look back towards the tail end of the field. Let's look at Harold Watkins. He's trying for 1 spot here on James Coytrone. That would be 10th. He's not able to get it. Boy. Not sure if this is by choice or if it is the car not giving him any favors, but we'll keep an eye on it. So far, over 3 seconds back of the lead. Irizarry continuing to lead the way. Lap 29 on the board. 44 to go. When this race fans out a little bit more, obviously right now it's a little bit stuck together, but as we get into the later portions of this first run and then into the pit cycle, we'll start to look at next season. Some fun stops on the circuit, a lot of different types of racetracks, a lot of different dynamics that we're going to see throughout Season 2 of 2025. We'll look at that here as this race gets closer to its conclusion. And here in a little bit, again, once this race fans out just a tad more, we'll perhaps bring in Matt Hayden in the 5-car. Missed tonight's race, a playoff driver from this season. We'll bring him in for a little while, or however long he wants to stay, really, once this race gets fanned out, and get his thoughts on the championship race, on the season, on what's to come. Kind of a little bit of everything with Matt Hayden when we bring him up here in just a little bit. Again, we're waiting for this race to fan out just a little bit. And the battle for the lead has been pretty heated now. It's heated again here up front, so we'll hold here for a second. Andrew Little and Steven Luttrell have come right to the back bumper of GT Irizarry. John Velocity hanging about 1.2 seconds back. It's been pretty consistent. He's not losing a bunch of time. He's perhaps by choice, not gaining a lot of time either. And now the leader, Irizarry, pulls away just a tad once again. Battle for second rages on. You see Irizarry breaking draft again. It's working. I see what he's doing. And I'm not sure how much of a gain it really is, but he is still doing it. Velocity facing a little bit of pressure now. About 1.3 seconds back in the leader, Christian Strader. Christian Strader, Rusty Modesty putting some pressure on Velocity. May force him to go a little bit harder than he wants to here. We may have to bring in Matt Aiden sooner than later because the fuel window has always been something that's been interesting to me because at every track I feel like I know what it is, and they end up running 10 laps shorter or 10 laps longer than I think. And without doing any practice, of course, I'm unable to really see that, but you might be able to shed a little bit of light on it in terms of what that number might be. Velocity still trying to hold off the advance of Christian Strader. Meanwhile, Watkins has gained 2 more spots. He's up to 9th, and that is as far as he's gotten. He is still over 3 seconds back in the leaders. Now, how hard is he going? We don't know. It's really kind of hard to see his inputs. The input is kind of weird on the overlays that we have, unfortunately, so we can't really see how hard he's going. To me, I wonder if he's... Oh, man. Well, that might give you a little indication as he bangs off the wall. I don't know if it's a struggle bust or if he's just not going. I'm not really sure here with Harold Watkins, but he's got to start to go a little bit harder here. He's over 3 seconds back in the leader and really hasn't picked up any time. He's picked up 2 spots, but he hasn't picked up a ton of time on the scoreboard over the past several laps. So, I mean... If he's saving, certainly it's going to be risky with the pit stop coming up, but if anybody can win it on strategy, I propose it's Harold Watkins from where he is right now. He got a lot of control over what he does here, can kind of dictate which way he wants to take this race. Velocity has gone a little bit harder now. He's back to 7/10 of a second, behind the leader, Irizarry, and slowly getting into this battle. In fact, Strader's kind of pushing him here and getting him right into this battle. He's 6/10 back. I don't know if he started to go harder, if Irizarry's backed his pace down. Not sure what the case is. But regardless, top 5 cars under a blanket. It's still breaking draft. I mean, right there, it didn't even help. Irizarry continues to lead almost halfway. We're actually 2 laps away from halfway. We continue to watch Harold Watkins in the 3 as he tries to complete a comeback, and he has lost some more time to the leader now. Irizarry pulling away. He's about a couple car lengths now further out in front. John Velocity holds off an advance from Christian Strader. Once again for the 4th position. Again, I'm wondering if Velocity is kind of holding back just a little and only going when Strader gets close enough to challenge him. I wonder if Irizarry has kind of backed his pace down. I wonder if Watkins, I wonder how hard he's going. You wonder if these guys, these championship drivers specifically, are kind of holding off the pace. I think we'll go to Matt Hayden after the pit stop. Once we get into that, what should be at this point, I would think the final run, as long as we've gone. his perspective once we get into that final stretch of the race where we are getting ready to crown a champion. But for now, again, this battle for the lead's been so close that it's kind of been hard to bring him in at any point. Velocity looking for third on Luttrell. That is a championship driver looking for a spot. He'll get a help here from Strader. Down the long front straightaway. He'll try to drive past Luttrell. Strader jumps back out of line. Velocity will try to propel himself here through one and get that spot. And Luttrell down to his door. Velocity has to lift out of the gas. Strader, where does he go? Does he go to try to help Velocity here? He will do that again. 2 more spots for Watkins. He is up to the 7th spot. He's still losing time, but he's in a good enough track position potentially to get back in this one. Velocity now battles Strader. He might lose a spot in the net here. And now Strader dives to the inside of Luttrell. Strader's been really good in this race, so I would not be surprised to see him potentially be a car that contends for the win. Short pit, and guess who? It's Harold Watkins. The first of 2 cars on pit road, Brandon Beauchamp as well. But it's Watkins that obviously is a bit more consequential. No offense to Brandon Beauchamp. But Watkins running for a championship, certainly a more consequential pit stop here. Could be the last one of the night. We'll see with a pit stop around lap 18. I'm not sure if it'll be the last one of the night or not, but he comes to pit road early in the end of this run, and let's see how long these guys in front of him stay out. That becomes the question. .39 laps on the board. Again, once this cycle completes, we'll be bringing in Matt Hayden, the driver of the 5, to get his perspective on this race, on the season, on the championship battle, on next season. Kind of get a little bit of everything out of Matt Hayden here in just a little bit. We're going to let this pit cycle run its course first, and then we'll, of course, go to Hayden a little bit later in the race. Irizarry leads, Little second, Strader third, Luttrell fourth, and Velocity fifth. Pit cycle is underway, but only 2 cars have come to pit road, Watkins and Beauchamp. Now, let's give you an idea of their lap times. Well, Watkins hasn't run a full lap yet to be able to tell what his lap time is compared to the leader. Say 53.63 was the last lap for leader GT Irizarry. Last lap for Watkins, 53.11. Irizarry, I don't know if he noticed or what happened, if he just got to his target lap, but he's on pit road now, the leader. GT Irizarry, the second of the playoff drivers on pit road. Rusty Modesty will follow in his footsteps here. On lap 41, he'll make his pit stop. We'll see if this is indeed the last pit stop. And my question now for John Velocity, how much has he been saving on this run? We went back green around lap 24. They all pit, the leaders did, on like basically lap 19 or 20. But you're able to save several more laps of gas. Have you managed to get it close enough to be a one-stop? It still seems to be a bit early, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see. Andrew Little, oh no, trouble! Andrew Little in the 68 pounds to the inside wall. coming onto pit road and knocks the front clip out of whack on that 68. The fastest car of the race now with problems getting onto pit road. Will certainly need a fast repair now. And Stephen Luttrell and Cody Eldred will follow to the pit lane. Another few cars into pit road. So 4 cars still on track. Christian Strader, John Velocity, James Coytrone, Justin Malarkey. It's actually 5, I believe, with Mike Martino. And then the first car off pit road, guess who? Harold Watkins. And he is considerably out front. 3 seconds out front. So we wait for these last few cars to pit. Velocity's one of them, actually. Pardon me, he is not one of them because he is on pit road. So John Velocity, the final of the playoff cars to make his pit stop. Of course, Harold Watkins likely will bypass him on pit road. Christian Strader shutting the car off. And we've seen him do this before. Remember Darlington? He was trying this same thing. It didn't work for him there. It's not going to work for him here. We'll see, actually. We'll see how long he can stretch that. I don't think he's going to be able to make it that long. But Strader will cede his spot. Coytrone cedes his spot. The interesting one now is Justin Malarkey, because he came to pit road with 1 to go, coming to lap 24, which means he could probably run a bit longer than the leaders can. Now, I don't know if he can run long enough to make it a 1-stop, but certainly can run a little bit longer than the leaders can, so very interesting strategy here. Velocity cycles out in front of Irizarry, but behind Watkins by 2 seconds. Let's see if Malarkey brings his car to pit road. He will. That will likely cycle the lead over to Harold Watkins. Now, again, the interesting part is Velocity and Irizarry are pushing. They are catching him. Is it speed? Is it rhythm? Is it mental? Is it Watkins saving? We don't know for the time being. So Watkins inherits the lead here off of the pit lane and leads by 1.5 seconds over John Velocity and the remainder of the field. The top 3 are all playoff cars, but it has fanned out quite a bit. And now with it fanning out quite a bit, let's bring in, for the first time really this season, a partner in the broadcast booth. And let's bring him in here as we welcome in Matt Hayden to the broadcast booth. This is a unique seat for you up here, Mr. Hayden, but glad to have you with me for this championship race. We're through a pit cycle now. A lot going on in this championship race. I'm not sure how much of it you've been able to see, but certainly drama-filled, to say the least.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've obviously had a little bit of issue with the 3-car trying to join in today. And, you know, we've got about midway of this race, and now we're watching him kind of short pit here and try to take advantage of it. I've been watching lap times, and interesting enough, GT got out on those fresh tires, and he was actually running about 0.3 slower than what Watkins was running on his first initial 5 laps. So we're kind of even back out now. GT's kind of drawing him in, but when we hit that last tire cycle, it'll be interesting to see if Watkins will pull out a big enough lead to kind of make it last towards the end of this race.
Well, look, I was curious about it too. It was a very early short pit. I mean, 4, 5, 6 laps, even by Harold Watkins standards. And this has been something that he's done before, his short pit, but by his standards even, it was really short. And I wondered what he was going to try to do. Well, he's going to run half a second faster in the field for 4 laps, get the lead, and then get out in front of these guys and do what I said he was going to do at the top of the broadcast, control the race, which is what he's done a lot of this season. He's doing so again tonight, even though he was behind the 8 ball. He finds a way back out front. Now, Velocity, Irizarry, you talked about both of them. They are running him down. The lap times have even more than evened out when we look at him now. It's faster here for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place car now. Christian Schrader is fastest on track. It's faster for all 3 of them than Watkins with a 53.98. We didn't even see them running 53.98s on old tires on that first run. Is it saving? Is it, is it just being a little conservative? Is it his stuff going away that quickly? Was it, too much on the short run maybe? Is it the new car build as well? I talked about the update we got. You're a driver. You've actually driven these. I haven't gotten a chance to drive the new next gen yet, but, kind of give it to the viewers. Like, how did the car change? Does that affect what we're seeing here with Harold Watkins? Or is he just perhaps saving, letting them come to him and then using more of his stuff when they get there?
Well, Dawson, obviously Pocono's a fast track, and I think what you're seeing with the new car model is a lot more aero. It's a lot more aero dependent or susceptible to like the car in front. So I think what we may have saw, especially I watched Watkins back before we joined in with you, is I think he was having a lot of he was struggling a lot being behind a car. I saw him hit the wall out of 3 coming on the front stretch a couple of times, and it was just being so close to the car in front. Now the field's kind of a little bit more strung out. You got a little bit more air on that front end. You can try to be a little more aggressive, but being more aggressive also kills the tires quicker. So you're lifting a lot more. So it's kind of, sometimes it feels a little bit backwards. You feel like you can run faster lap times and stuff, but obviously you kill the tires, and you need to kind of back your corners up more and do a little bit more management, especially if you're trying to make these things last. If you're short pitting, trying to make them last. But I think Harold took advantage of a situation where he was back in the field. Aero push, wasn't making up ground. Lap times, I looked from 1st to 9th place, was all within the same 10th of a second of each other. So I think now that they're strung out a little more, they can stretch their legs a little bit, but they're also going to suffer more tire damage.
Well, Velocity got to about 4/10 back. Now we see the gap grow a little bit. Could be aero, could be Watkins hitting the go button a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. We'll now talk about the guys behind him and kind of more Velocity here than anything in a scope of what would you do to win a championship. We always hear the cliche expression, you'd wreck your mom to win the Daytona 500. It's a championship now, and for Velocity it carries a little bit more weight. A runner-up a season ago, I talked about how sour that is. I've been there before as a runner-up in a championship format. It sucks. I mean, just to say it plainly, it sucks. And for now, for Velocity, losing it the way he did last season, he's told us before, by 3 car lengths. And you could see the guy. He can once again see the guy here with Harold Watkins. As a driver in this position, if you're in the seat in the 84, what's going through your mind? How do you attack this? How do you go about, where's the line as a driver in terms of what you can and can't do here to win a championship if you're in the shoes of John Velocity with 23 laps to go? Because if everything continues to go according to plan, he's going to be the one with the closest shot to Watkins here when it comes down to it.
Well, Dawson, I'll tell you the interesting fact that's floating out there, and I don't know if it's been addressed, but the 2 drivers at front are going to be racing endurance this weekend with the 6 Hour at the Glen. So Strader, myself, Velocity, and Watkins will be on a team. There'll be 2 separate teams, which myself and Velocity will be running, and Watkins and Strader will be running the team 2 for us, or if you want to say team 1 and team 2, vice versa. So I know, obviously Velocity and Watkins have run endurance with us, so I would think that they would give each other respect. I think it'd be different if it was flipped around with GT out front. I know he wants to be aggressive. He wants to win, but he's also said that either he's coming home with the gold cup trophy, or he's going to go home with that fourth place consolation trophy. I don't think there's any in between for him. So, I think the thing about it here, though, is you got to kind of plan this last stop out to be close enough to, either short pit by a lap and then just get ahead, because obviously we see that once you get lined up, it's just passing is almost impossible.
Well, it mirrors the current NASCAR Cup Series car. Again, I mentioned the race on Sunday. We saw it there after the last pit stop. Nobody could pass Chase Briscoe, even though he's burning a gallon less per lap than everybody behind him because he's coasting on entry. You just could not pass him. And this new version of this next-gen race car, unlike what we saw for basically 15, I would say, or 14 of the 17 races this season, we saw there was aero, but it certainly wasn't, nearly what the real-life car is. And for a lot of reasons, a lot of us liked it. But, now we have that aero in play. And you said it. I think, well, they're definitely now close enough to both short pit, Irizarry and Velocity. They're both close enough to me. 1 lap may do it. 2 laps would definitely do it if they can undercut Watkins here. Now, here's the problem. They probably won't be able to. Remember, Watkins pit 4 laps before the rest of the leaders. He'll likely do the same here on this last stop as long as he can make it on fuel. If he's the first on pit road, this race could very well be over. Now, the counter would be Velocity pit 8 laps or 6 or 8 laps later and came out. Now he's only 5/10 behind Watkins. If he goes 3 laps later, is he closer to the bumper? Is he in a position? That's going to be what I want to watch here. 19 to go with the line. I mean, we're coming down to it. X Factor, enter Christian Strader from stage right. He is caught. GT Irizarry here for 3rd. He'll likely get around the 14 here, depending on, of course, what line he runs in this dirty air here in turn 1. We'll keep an eye on this battle. In turn 1, he's going to run a half lane at the racetrack in typical Strader fashion, up higher than most everybody else is daring enough to run. We'll go half a car length behind Irizarry, but this is a bit of an X factor now, because if Strader puts himself between these 3 cars, all of a sudden somebody's job gets tougher. Perhaps 2 of the cars' jobs get tougher. If he can get past all 3, of course, then it would be back in the same boat. But Strader, not a lot to race for other than just wanting to win here in this final race. So he's not going to wreck the playoff guys. He is going to race them the same way he would always race them. I mean, look at this line in turn 3. And I've seen him run this line before. It is ridiculous to me that this works. Well, it works because there's the short pit. GT Irizarry's the first on pit road, but he slides those tires coming on pit road. You got to hope he got to pit road speed. But it's GT Irizarry, much like at Phoenix, by the way, where he captured his only win of the season. He comes in on strategy and is going to try to win it that way. I'd imagine right here, Velocity, Watkins, they saw that. I'd imagine they both see that in the rearview mirror. We'll probably see them on pit road here, but we'll see. Did they catch it in time, and will they react to it?
It's definitely one of the tracks where you can get onto pit road extremely hot. There's a lot of room when you come off the corner to dive down. It's just there's no real reference point to judge when to really lay on that brake, and especially the last stop of the season for championship, you want to take advantage of every foot to get on pit road here. It's interesting to see, though, if you look, it's almost like a Daytona race where if you can pit and come out, as we see, I think Watkins looks like he's coming in now.
He is, but feel free to continue your point. I was going to say.
You'll see the cars that are grouped together almost run, it looks like late in that run, were about 3/10 faster than cars that were running out by themselves. So it might be a thing where being grouped up with a car to have the draft. But we see Christian, he's already been on the radio and said, hey, listen, I'm going to push. I'm not going to force the issue and burn your tires up with Velocity early in the race. So we'll see if he pushes him here.
I noticed that earlier in the race. It helped Velocity drive back up to the leaders, and Strader was actually able to push him along, and it looks like he'll do the same. He's not really close enough here to do it as he was earlier. We'll see if he gets close enough here, or if Velocity pits. I'd imagine Velocity, we'll see him on pit road right here, I would think, with 17 to go. I can't imagine you let those guys beat you by 2-3 laps. Let's see if he does indeed come down. No, he'll play it just like he did earlier. He's going to run it long. What that does, and honestly it may pay off for him, is when he finally decides to come to pit road, likely 15 to go, 14 to go, he'll have an extra 3 or 4 laps. He can really just push it all the way to the end. He doesn't really have to save. These cars have never, now they've got a reworked tire now, and I can't speak to that, but it's always really been how hot you get your tires, not as much how much you wear the tires. So really, as long as he's not sliding them, he can go as hard as he wants to on this last run. He's going to have an extra 3, 4, 5 laps perhaps on being able to go than the guys now behind him. Now, I will tell you, off pit road, Watkins is 5.5 seconds ahead of GT Irizarry, who's short pit. So I'm not sure perhaps if Watkins took no tires, I'm not looking at that right now, but 5.5 seconds and a lap later, something was different for Watkins, whether it's 2 tires, whether it's no tires, and less fuel perhaps just to make it to the end. I'm not sure. We'll have to see if that works for him, because obviously if he's on no tires, I mean, as soon as he gets him warmed up again, this is certainly going to be a long run to the end for him to try to hold off the 14.
Well, Dawson, we've seen him do this before at other tracks. When you're on the ropes here, you got to make some type of move, and it looks like the car pushes really tight, especially off of 3. Like I said, he's hit the wall a couple of times when he was back in traffic. So it may be one of those things. Hey, free the car up. Let's just slide this thing around. But I also think Velocity too, he's been up there, he's been stuck behind, he hasn't led, at least from the part of the race that I've seen. So maybe the advantage is go long on this, take advantage if you have fresher tires, especially if a late caution comes out with maybe 10 to go, if we get in that window, and then, take advantage of it that way. But I just think the longer you stay out, the more disadvantage you put yourself.
Boy, really interesting here to me. 14 to go. We're 15, 20 laps into this run, and Velocity just ran a 53.21. That's only 500ths worse than his best lap of the race. Saving tires, perhaps, or, it had to have been to run that quick a lap. That's the quickest lap late in a run we've seen all day, and it's faster than Harold Watkins, who is losing time right now to the 84, who, remember, was only 0.4 off his back bumper when Watkins elected to come to pit road. There's an opportunity here for Velocity to come out right on his back bumper. Oh, by the way, with possibly 10 lap fresher tires than Watkins by the time he ends up coming to pit road. Another trip by pit road for John Velocity. He's going to come down and take 13 laps to go. And over on that left side, you see the time? It's still evened out. He's still faster than the 3. 200ths quicker there for John Velocity. Strader's probably helping. He's running right in line. He's not. He's pushing him along again. He's not right on his bumper, but certainly not getting alongside him. But, man, to be this late in the run and still faster than the guy who was leading the race a moment ago, there's been some kind of masterful tire saving that John Velocity's done. He might be in the best position right here when it comes down to his final pit stop.
Dawson, I'm also wondering, because you'll see him, he was also 0.3 faster than GT, but the interesting thing is GT's lost the draft to Watkins, and Watkins is coming up on a slower car ahead of him, but he should get by him. He's got no draft help. I think one of the things that we've seen and what I've experienced with car is that you don't have to be up on someone's bumper to feel the effects of the draft in these cars. You can get a push from a car or get the air off the rear spoiler in these. It feels like with being further back than you used to be able to in the car. So there's a 53.1 by Velocity that lap. So he may end up pitting and still have a 3-second lead by the time he comes out. Oh, and also be 10 laps fresher on tires too.
Oh, a little close encounter with the outside wall there for the 84, though. That's going to cost him a moment, or will it? I stand corrected. It didn't cost him anything. He continues to gain some time. I mean, he's put, just since Watkins came off pit road, I mean, he's put a second or more on the 3 car just because he has a car behind him. You see Strader, I mean, he's not on his bumper. He's 4 car lengths behind him, and Velocity's still driving away. I mean, we're almost at the 37-second gap. Here he comes. Final pit stop, and this is where the money's made for Velocity. You can't speed. You've got a buffer. And you notice, look at the difference between entry between him and GT Irizarry. He didn't slide the tires at all. Got all the way down to pit speed. Really didn't force it. We didn't see Watkins force it either. Moment of truth for the 84 as he comes on pit road. And here we go. This is the money stop. This is the stop for the championship, but his tires are going to be 13 laps fresher when he comes off pit road as compared to Harold Watkins.
Yep, and we've got Watkins entering turn 3 right now, so it's going to be interesting. Obviously, long front stretch, long pit road, slow pit road. Looks like Watkins is going to come out in pretty good shape through here. We'll just see if he gets run down.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, only right side tires on the 84 Velocity. It's going to be awfully close. He hits the blue line. Here comes Watkins to get around, and we're going to have a battle for the win and the championship.
Watkins hit it so hard when he saw him out in front. He pushed right up the track into one.
Well, he's going to have a look at it, though. He's 0.8 back. That is well within draft range in this next-gen race car. What better way to end a season? By the way, Christian Strader's come to pit road as well. He's making his final stop of the evening. The only car at this point, I think, that can throw any kind of wrench in this finish. Watkins is 0.8 back, but he only has 10 laps to go, and he's got much older tires. How much can you do? How much have you saved, perhaps, if you're Harold Watkins? And how hard does John Velocity want to push that race car? 9 laps to go. The gap is 0.9 of a second, but Velocity being chased by what this year has been the best closer in the series in Watkins, and only 10 laps remain for redemption for Velocity and for the completion of one of the most dominant league seasons I've ever seen for Harold Watkins. It's mano a mano. Irizarry is out of it here in the 14, 7 seconds behind and losing even more time. He'll need a caution with the field fanned out. I don't think he'll get it. 0.9, but stalling is the gap. Does Watkins have enough tire to get back to Velocity? Even if Velocity doesn't push, he's trying. You can see him sending into the corner. He'll do it again here in turn 3. You'll watch that time go down a little bit. He's driving really hard in on entry. But does he have the tire? I mean, the more laps that go by, he's got to gain some time, and he is just not. Velocity continues to drive away with now 9 laps to go. The longest 9 laps of John Velocity's life here, at least to this point, coming up in the next 9 laps. And by the way, it's a 2.5-mile racetrack. That doesn't help his case either.
We're watching the Watkins onboard here, watching him try to sling it, especially in the tunnel turn in 2. You can tell he's trying to get that car to rotate down. It's just not doing what he wants to do on it. He's having to use a lot of brake mid-corner to try to get the back end to rotate so he didn't go up into the wall, especially, again, like that arrow push may be affecting him in it. But we'll watch as he goes into 2. He's going to try to sling this car down and try to make up some time.
You heard him downshift as he's turning the wheel into the tunnel turn. We didn't see the Cup drivers downshift on Sunday afternoon, but Watkins is doing it here to try to get anything he can on Velocity. But again, you see that gap continue to slowly creep up. It's at 1.1 seconds, almost 1.2. My only lingering question with John Velocity is how hard is he pushing right now with 8 laps to go? He only took right side tires. Again, likely what Watkins did as well to try to free up the race car. How hard is he pushing? His lap times right now, 53.28. We saw him run a little bit faster than that earlier with Schrader around him, so I don't know how hard he's pushing, but he's over a 10th faster than Watkins. I can't imagine that he's pushing too hard, running just under a 53.3. Now, there's a car out in front of these cars. I don't know if they'll catch him in time, but I thought it was Brandon Beauchamp. It is Mike Martino in the 75. I don't know how much impact this will have, but certainly something to watch is right there in the tunnel turn. Did Velocity start to go too hard? As Watkins found a little something over there in turn 2, but he gained a 10th right there in turn 2. He's got to gain a little bit more than that, though, if he wants to get up to the back bumper of the 84. 7 laps to go. He's got to find something. Your best opportunity is really rotation in turn 1, rotation in turn 2, and exit of turn 3. How much speed you can carry down the front straightaway. You see Martino dives out of the way. He will not be a factor. Next car up is Brandon Beauchamp, and I just don't think they'll get there in 7 laps. And right as I say rotation in turn 1, again, Watkins has just not been able to find it right there, but he's got something now in the tunnel turn. He's got to find something on both other ends of the racetrack if he's going to catch the 84, though.
Yeah, I just think it's the problem is, like we saw in the Cup Series, is he may close that gap up, but when you get to about 4/10, there's so much air wash on the front nose of the car, especially if you've been struggling with tires late in the run and pushing hard trying to win a championship like these guys are trying to do. There's just not a lot of rubber left to try to get the car to turn down. I just think that as we see Velocity and Watkins hit the wall there, I know they're both trying to push. They both want this championship really bad. I just don't know if there's enough time for Watkins to make this up.
10th and a half faster that time by. He continues to run that pace. He'll get very close, but like you said, within the next 3 laps or 4 laps, if he continues on that pace, of course, he'll be within that air wash of the back of the 84. Now, he's cut the gap inside of a second. He's almost to the range where he can pull some draft. And, you know, earlier we saw TT Irizarry. We saw him snaking down the front straightaway, and we saw that on Sunday as well. I don't know if John Velocity will do that. For me, personally, if I were in his shoes, is Watkins cuts another 10th off right there. You know, if I'm in Velocity's shoes, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't want to mess with my rhythm. I just drive the front stretch. If he gains a half a 10th on me in the draft, at the pace they both are running, I can't imagine he's going to really fret about that. Watkins still, by the way, not really close enough. 5 laps to go. The gap's as close as it's been. 8.5 tenths down here into turn 1, and all of a sudden Watkins is faster. And all of a sudden, throw a wrench in everything and throw it out the window. Wow. Caution flag. I mean, oh, man. If you're John Velocity, you're saying, are you kidding me?
That is definitely about to flip this whole race. Looks like GT's down to the apron on the front stretch.
It flips the race for the top two, but not for GT Irizarry, who it looks like is involved in this caution flag. Let's go back and take a look. As he was running third, right behind our two championship leaders at the front. Into turn 3, puts the left sides down on that apron on those rumble strips now at the bottom at Pocono. They didn't used to be there. They're there now. Oh, and catches the grass, too. The grass certainly is going to do it. The rumble strips don't. He gets sideways. He almost saves this car. He gets very close to driving out of it. But Cody Eldred unable to get out of the throttle in time. Coitron coming on as well. James Coitron goes right through the middle like it's a goalpost. Oh, does Irizarry slide it, trying to save it? Oh, yeah, big-time spin. Slides it sideways and does just enough. And I mean, he slides just enough sideways to bring out a caution. This is a very small margin. Like, it could not be smaller, honestly, for how far he got around. And he's already on the apron. This was as close as it gets. But it's GT Irizarry, the playoff driver, that is involved in our second caution, our first for incident of the night, that comes with 4 laps to go. Take another look here. He gets the rumble strips first, and obviously that's never good when you hit those little rumbles at the bottom. That upsets the car enough. Then he clips the grass, and that's really what gets the car out of whack. Gets him sideways. Around he goes on the front stretch. Did not hit much of anything, so he's going to not have any damage. Obviously, probably come get new tires as well. But a tough break for Irizarry. We'll show you the onboard here as well, just so I can show you what I mean when the car gets in the grass. Just how upset it gets down here towards the bottom. He's just trying to find speed. We talked about it with Watkins a moment ago. We talked about it with Velocity a moment ago. He's just trying to find speed and trying to run as fast as he can. He knows he's far enough back that he's just trying to find anything he can, and the grass really gets that car upset. He spins, but again, doesn't hit anything. Going to come get some tires, and I don't know if he'll have enough time to get back in this one, but obviously we got to see what the leaders do as well. And
Joe, we've had a big fake.
A couple fakes. Both the championship cars fake.
Yeah, Dawson, I was about to say right before they came up, I didn't know if it would be a wise idea. Their lap times were so fast on used tires, bunched up like this. I don't know what the advantage would be to it, but also, like we talked about earlier, Velocity waited it out, came out with the lead. He's got the fresher tires here, especially with the tires going down. But here's the thing. We've got a big wad of cars in pit road right now, who guys that don't have anything to lose but just try to win a race.
Well, yeah, and again, for those guys, and really, the one I'm looking at was Christian Schrader. He's several laps down now on pit road. Not sure what happened to the 29, but yeah, he was one of the ones I was looking at as a good short run car on new tires. Stephen Luttrell's been good on a short run on new tires. Andrew Little's been good all night. That's kind of his mulligan for the green flag pit stop we saw a little while ago when he spun from the lead, getting onto pit road. There's a number of guys now either with nothing to lose or, if we're talking the case of GT Irizarry, now I don't know if he'll get to the leaders from 9th, but he'll be on new tires as well. That's his mulligan too. We got a bunch of guys in the pack now with, like you said, nothing they're racing for besides victory lane. Now, I've talked about it all night. If you're one of these guys that is not in the playoffs, the last thing you want to do, especially on this last restart, is bomb into turn 1, try to send it 3 wide, or do something that wrecks one of these cars. That's obviously not what these guys are going to try to do, but it certainly is a variable now that these top two have to negotiate with, where they're going to be negotiating traffic. Oh, by the way, they have to race each other. Oh, by the way, they're on old tires. And their third competitor just got brought right back in the race as well. So a lot of variables here for these front two. Neither of them pit. All the cars behind them do, which to me is really interesting. I think Luttrell has been the best to me on a short run on new tires, so he's going to be the one I'm watching on this restart to maybe muck things up here at the front. But again, if you're one of those guys, do you even bother? Do you kind of just stay out of it and let these two race each other, or do you try to go win the race? Kind of, what do you do? We'll ask the driver. What do you do in this situation? If you're Rusty Modesty here, if you're, Stephen Luttrell, if you're Brandon Beauchamp, do you go up there and race these guys? Do you hang back and let them settle it? Kind of, how do you handle it? You're on better tires, but you don't want to be that guy that ruins the championship race either.
No, and I think we got a good group that's wadded in here, but you just never know when you're that close. You're on fresh tires, and say one of them gets a run off of one. I mean, that light bulb turns on where, hey, listen, I can close this out. You know, you look at Beauchamp, not the finishes he'd hoped for, and if he's got a chance and feels like it, if I was him, I would go for it too, as long as it wouldn't affect a race. But the most interesting thing I'll see here is we've got GT back there, obviously, with everything to gain from going as hard as he can for these last 2 laps. You may see some guys back out and not race as hard. If he can gain 4 or 5 spots here and we have a caution and we have to re-rack this, he may move himself back up with those new tires. I just don't know if we only run 2 laps here, if he's got enough time to do it. But if we have another green and white and he's moved himself up a couple of spots, I'd watch out for GT.
Well, and I go back to the question I posed earlier, the question I really kind of posed most of the night since these guys have been around each other, is how much are you willing to do? How hard are you willing to push it to win a championship? You know, you mentioned if we get a caution, well, you also add in the variable, the caution could theoretically come from the front row as these guys try to just get that extra 6 inches out in front of the other guy and hope they can either get the lead in front of their caution or get out front and win the race. You wonder, and if the caution comes between those 2 drivers, well, then we throw everything out the window and we start all over again into the restart zone. 2 laps to go in the season. Green flag back in the air, and it's Velocity off and running. He'll be clear of Watkins going into 1. There are new tires out back. Velocity going to snake just a little bit here down the front stretch. Try to get the draft away from the front nose of Harold Watkins, and off we go. Into 1. 2 laps for Velocity to seal it. You might think for a moment that, you know, he might be thinking he got robbed, and now he's got to do it all again. Watkins, a car length and a half back. Snake down the long pond straightaway by Velocity. Going to try to hold Watkins where he is. Now, we saw GT Raziri doing this earlier, and it didn't really have an impact. It doesn't there either. Watkins, a car length back, and on the bumper of Velocity, coming back to the white flag. There's the air wash. He pushes wide in the tunnel turn, does Watkins. It gives about 4 car lengths advantage. Now Watkins has to race modesty. How hard does the 6 race him? The answer, not hard at all. The 6 backs out. The 3 tries to get a good exit off of turn number 3. He will not. It's 5 car lengths clear. White flag is up. 1 lap to go here at Pocono. It's got to be a perfect one for Velocity. He's got 3 turns to go. Oh, man, they are crashing big time out back. Andrew Little, Stephen Luttrell, Irizarry got through it, but it was not before the white flag. The race will be official through turn 1. Good turn 1 there by Velocity. He'll drive away by a couple hundredths. Watkins not really in range either to dive bomb either of these corners. He's got to have a really good tunnel turn and set up turn 3. He's got to get it done right here in turn 2. This is where he's been better, is right here in turn 2. Oh, he gets through it pretty good, but he gets in the bad air here on the exit of turn 2. He manages to keep the throttle matted. He's got to run outside the air of Velocity and hope he gets a good run down the front. Through turn 3 for the final time here in the season. Watkins within 3 car lengths. That is as close as he will get. From runner-up a season ago to champion here in 2025, John Velocity closes the deal, wins at Pocono, and is the champion of Season 1 of the Challenger Cup Series.
Dawson, what a finish. All the dramatics with the disconnects and stuff for Watkins. Velocity stuck in the middle, powers through. What an awesome win for him. Man, that was an awesome finish to the season.
Well, just add it to the book of good finishes this season is certainly, and you see now the gesture from Harold Watkins. Two drivers that put it all on the line this season, put all on the line here at Pocono as well. Watkins ran it literally as hard as he could there in turn 3, by the way, about knocked the fence down on exit of turn 3 trying to get to him. Was not able to do so. Will come up 1 spot short. Surely that's going to sting for Harold Watkins, but boy, what a season he put together, and now puts himself up in the driver's seat as a favorite in Season 2 coming up starting next week. But for Velocity, you know, we heard him talk about it in Nashville 3 weeks ago. We heard him talk about it earlier in this season. We heard him talk about it, you know, even when just I've gotten to talk to him, just how much it stung last season to lose the way he did. This season, it looks like it's going the same way. It looks like he's going to get kind of that cheap end of the stick again. Not so much tonight. He'll burn it down here at Pocono, and get ready for this one, folks. He might burn it down till the engine comes out of this race car here on the front stretch, as this one's a long time coming. We'll give him an opportunity to celebrate as we always do here on the front stretch. So he will complete his celebration. We'll now enter into the post-race segment here of this race. We'll go through results. We'll go through post-race interviews here of your top three. And, of course, we'll kind of break things down and also start to look forward as well to the season that starts anew next week. We'll tell you about next season also, how that's going to work. We'll go through the results first. John Velocity gets the victory and is the champion here of Season 1 of the Challenger Cup Series over Harold Watkins, who goes second on the track and second in the standings in this first season. Rusty Modesty, nice finish for him in third. Cody Eldred, a top 5 for him, also in fourth. GT Arizuri, he did what you said he probably would do there, Matt. He got up from 9th to 5th on that restart, but that crash happened about 100 feet too late for him to get a caution that he needed. He'll finish 5th tonight on the track, 3rd in the standings. James Coytrone will finish in 6th with Justin Malarkey back in 7th. Andrew Little never recovered from the pit road mishap. He'll finish 8th tonight. Brandon Beauchamp in 9th. Stephen Luttrell in 10th after that crash on the final lap. Mike Martino goes 11th. Christian Schrader goes 12th. Greg Bourbonier 13th. The other championship driver, Travis Everett, unable to make the grid, will finish this season 4th in the final standings in terms of the playoff results. We don't have all 3 of the drivers yet. In fact, yes, we do. So we will go right into interviews. Obviously, want to hear from these top 2 as they are the championship cars. But we'll go first to the man who finished in 3rd. And we'll get these interviews underway here on PGR eSports. The man who finished 3rd is the only non-championship driver on the podium. It's another top 3 finish for him this season. It's Rusty Modesty in the 6. We'll hear what he's got to say about his race and his season overall here tonight in Pocono post-race. Rusty, it's the boys in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how are you?
Well, not too bad. Look, an exhilarating race, one that kind of mirrored a lot of the ones this season. A lot of strategy, then a late caution, then a restart. You kind of take advantage of the restart. You manage a good finish tonight, and it's a 3rd place. Got to feel good for the momentum factor to come home with a top 3 finish in the final race of the season.
Yeah, no doubt. I kind of backed into this one. I was a solid 8th place car tonight. So just with the caution there at the end and the little bit of strategy, but not much. Somehow I came away with P3. So I think several people had some issues on pit road that freed some track up for me, and was really not expecting anything great, and then all of a sudden on the last restart I'm starting P3. So just kind of how the cards fell.
Well, look, obviously, like I mentioned, a good momentum booster for you. A playoff driver this season, not able to get into tonight's Final Four, but again, you've got now some good traction heading towards next season. Kind of close the book on this season, open the book on next season, kind of reflect on this season from, both your perspective as a driver, but also, as kind of an overseer of the league, if you will, kind of reflect from both perspectives on this first season here in 2025 and, what we can kind of expect moving forward as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we brought in a lot of really great talent that has honestly really kind of brought everyone together as a whole, and throughout the series of these weeks learn to race with each other and how to race around each other. And it seems like when you always kind of have new members in a league getting off the ground and people getting to know each other, there's always some static and always some friction, which has been very entertaining this season. But towards the latter stages of this season, you're starting to see people get more comfortable with each other and how to race around each other and what to expect and what not to expect. And overall, I couldn't be more proud of the group and the respect that everyone has shown each other, even when there is an incident. No one's taking it to heart, and a lot of words back and forth, some kind, some not so kind. But at the end of the day, we all show up next week and we'll do it again. So that just shows the wherewithal of the people here and their desire to be here and desire to race with each other, and couldn't ask for anything more. So we have a great team that puts all this together. Matt joined you tonight. He's another exceptional member. We call him our social media manager. Andrew Little doing race direction style responsibilities. James Wright doing race control. Yourself, Dawson, with fantastic broadcasts that everyone loves, along with a myriad of other people who just help with the day in, day out administrative items. Harold Watkins is another one. You see Harold Watkins leading a lot, but he's an integral member on how this league stays in business and how we keep operating. Harold does the points for us. We are kind of operating a somewhat complex point schedule, and he knocks it out of the park. And really happy with what he does. Um, some things you may not know. We curate a lot of this league, so when it comes down to the laps and tire strategy and fuel strategy and all of that, it's because we're running test laps and we're figuring out what is the fuel burn, how long are tires lasting, what is to be expected. Just so some races we're going to throw some curveballs, and really not leave you with too many options, or leave you with a lot of options, and then you see a lot of strategy like tonight. So. Yeah, just a lot of people to make it go around, and really happy with everyone involved.
Certainly a fun season, and it's a third place finish for your season on the driving side of things here at Pocono. So before we do let you go, any other thank you shout outs you'd like to give here on the way out in season 1?
Yeah, listen, everyone that I just mentioned, thank you for being a part of this, and all of the drivers who come in here week in and week out, and some of the people that we're all adults here, so some people come when they can, some can't. Thanks to everyone who just partakes and wants to be on this fun journey with us. Last shout out, Lindsay Fitzmaurice. She's the glue that holds us together. Really, really happy with what she's done for our team. And driving us together as a family.
I appreciate you for talking to me here for a second. Congrats on the third place finish tonight and on a successful season for you. We'll see you next week at Atlanta as we start season 2.
Thanks, boys.
Rusty Modesty, the third place finisher tonight, was going to call an audible as I saw GT Erzuri for a moment in the waiting room and interview all 3 of our championship contenders from tonight, but I don't see him anymore, so we'll just move on to the top 2. And ironically, the top 2 in the championship, the top 2 on the racetrack. We'll start with a man I imagine who, is not going to be the happiest guy in the world, but can't imagine could be too upset with what is, again, one of the best league seasons I have ever seen out of a single driver. Dominant all season, comes home with a second place finish tonight. Will finish runner-up in the championship, but certainly nothing to hang his head on. It's Harold Watkins in the 3 machine. Harold, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you.
Well, look, I can't imagine that it's a great feeling. I have been in this spot before, so on that regard, it's a tough ending. I want to talk about this race first, specifically that last run, both before and after the caution. Is there anything different that you could have done? Kind of, take us through, the game plan on pit road first of all, but also, is there anything differently you could have done on track to get around the 84 of John Velocity, or kind of take us through your mindset through the last scramble of this race?
No, they were dead even. I mean, I could have not got kicked out of the session twice. That could have helped, but no, there's just no drop off in lap time. Even though there was tire wear, there was no actual time drop off. So it's not like you could save and try to work your way up. It was just you could just run qualifying laps basically the whole race. I mean, me and John both ran our fastest laps of the race on the very last lap. So if that tells you anything, we're both at the end of our runs and on 2 tires. So no, honestly, there was nothing. The only way I thought I could have won is if I would have kept the lead coming out of that second pit cycle.
Well, obviously, an unfortunate ending, but we'll pivot now to kind of this whole season. And, I asked Rusty this a moment ago. I'm going to, ask Matt as well here in just a moment to kind of just close the book and reflect on the season. And it's especially unique here, and I called it this a couple times now. Despite the result tonight, one of the best league seasons I've ever seen in terms of stats, you got to feel still good about that despite the result. 4 wins, 5 stage wins, a ton of laps led, the most in the field by far. A dominant car all season. Close the book on this season, reflect on it. Kind of just, what'd you learn? Kind of what was your experience this season? And also look forward as well to next season and what we can expect. Got to expect that we see another run kind of similar to this with even more motivation out of you next season.
Well, I hate to correct you, but I had 5 wins.
Blame the stat sheet on that one, but yeah, feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, you kept trying to give Bristol to Travis, but I pulled that one out. So just thought I'd give you a little jab here in good fun.
Fair enough.
Just to have a little fun tonight because it was not fun during this race, fighting the battle that I had to fight. But yeah, I mean, I'm hungry. I want to win. I did feel like I was the best car, all season for most races. There were instances here or there that someone was a little bit better here, a little bit better there, but ultimately I felt really good. I'm just going to try to bring that same strategy, same tenacity, try to find out what these tires are going to do at the tracks going forward. This one hurts. I had to make up quite a bit of time, like I said. So I'm just going to use this as motivation to come back and, try to be even more dominant next season.
Well, obviously, we'll look forward to that. It's second for you here tonight at Pocono. It's second in the championship as well. Before we let you go, any other thank you, shout-outs you'd like to give here on the way out in Season 1?
Yeah, thank you up in the booth. You've done a great job all season. It's been really fun to watch every race back. Thank you to everyone that makes this league run. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of things behind the scenes to make this league great. Thanks to J-Dub that's done race control all season. He's one of the reasons, again, that this league is so good and runs pretty smoothly. And then lastly, shout out to my grandpa. He got put on hospice this weekend, so I'm just thinking about him, and I know it's not looking good for him, but I love him, and it's just been a tough week for our family, and I was hoping to win it for him, but couldn't quite do it.
Well, obviously, we'll keep you and him and your whole family in our thoughts as well. Appreciate you talking to me here for a second. Congrats on an incredible season for you and on a second-place result here tonight in Pocono, despite it obviously not being what you wanted. We look forward now to next season. We'll see you starting next week at Atlanta for Season 2.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dawson.
Harold Watkins, second tonight on track, second in the championship, and now the man who is in victory lane both at Pocono and the Challenger Cup Series Championship as well. It's the Season 1 champion in 2025. From runner-up to glory the next season, it's John Velocity in the 84. Let's see what he's got to say about his race, his season, and, of course, the feeling of becoming a Challenger Cup Series champion. Hey, John, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Well, look, I got to imagine you're a pretty happy man right now. A championship here in Season 1 of 2025. You're able to hold off Harold Watkins not once but twice on the green flag run. A caution comes out. You have to hold him off on the restart. We'll start there before we even get to the championship. You're holding him off under green. It's going pretty well. He closes the gap, but it doesn't look like he's going to get there. A caution flag comes out. You have to re-rack for a restart. What was going through your mind? Kind of what was the game plan? What was it like in the cockpit of the race car when the yellow lights come on? You realize you have to beat him on a restart, which, of course, we know how good Harold's been on restarts this season all year. You get a great restart, you win the race. Kind of take me through that whole process, though, when that caution flag comes out with 4 laps to go.
Well, the first thing that went through my head was, oh no, not again. When I won at Texas earlier in the year, it was kind of the same thing. Leading late, pretty much had it locked up, and then right before the green white checkered, boom, caution. I was like, oh man. So that was the first thing going through my head. And then I didn't know if he was on 4 tires or 2 tires. I was on 2 tires when I pit. I kind of pulled the strategy card and threw a Hail Mary to hope it would stick. And it got me the lead. I was smooth sailing. I was feeling good. And then caution came out. I'm like, oh boy. I didn't know how that was going to go. And then on the restart, I got a good jump and was able to hold the way. And now I'm sitting here a champion.
Oh, yeah, and it actually is a good segue as well. I kind of talked about it all night. A runner-up of this series a season ago, and you talked to me at Nashville when you won about how that championship went down and how much that sting had just stuck around. I got to imagine it was, back with you again tonight. You remember those feelings. Again, I've been there as a driver. I understand that feeling. It stayed for me as well. Now that you've gotten into victory lane, you've had a chance to process it. How does it feel, first off, but especially after the circumstances of a season ago? Just kind of take me through the feelings, the emotions kind of going through your mind when you cross the line, when you're in victory lane, and now that you've had a chance to reflect on it.
Oh, it definitely feels amazing. I was 100% thinking about last season, about midway through this race when I was chasing Harold. I was thinking, man, is this going to happen again? Am I going to be running up again? And then, to kind of get that monkey off my shoulder and actually get the win and feel what I was hoping to feel last season. It feels every bit as good as I hoped it would, and I'm glad I was able to win the race while doing it. I know you don't have to win the championship, but it sure feels a lot better to do both.
Well, look, we closed the book now on this season, but, as Challenger Cup Series is a little bit unique, we get right back to it next week. So you can enjoy the championship, but at the same time, now you can go defend it as well in a week's time starting at Atlanta. A ton of really unique racetracks coming up on the schedule as well. Road courses, short tracks we haven't been to yet, some repeat tracks as well. It's really interesting. We've closed the book now on one season. What can we expect next season? Can we expect more of the same kind of, what is the game plan here to defend your championship here in season 2 over the next about 17 weeks?
Oh yeah, game plan is to start defending right away. I don't want to fall behind in any way. A lot of the early tracks coming up are some of my favorites. Pretty good on the road courses, so back to back of those would be nice. You got Dover and all those. A pretty exciting stretch of the season for me. So you get to celebrate this one, but I can't lose sight of getting right back into it and trying to defend right away. I hope to be here again at the end of the year.
We're looking forward to season 2 getting underway here in just a week's time in Atlanta. But now we close the book on a season, and again, a unique opportunity. Only one man every season gets to say they're in championship victory lane, and that's where you sit here tonight. So before we let you go and start to celebrate again, for a week's time at least, we'll give you a chance before we let you head out. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out here as the champion of season 1 of 2025 in the Challenger Cup Series?
Oh yeah, as always, I would like to thank you for putting on the broadcast. Love being able to talk to you after these races, especially championships, and all the hard work you do and you put in. You do a great job, and love to shout out everybody in this league. They put in a ton of effort to get this thing going, and all the behind the scenes work. It doesn't go unnoticed. Good group of guys here, and I absolutely love being a part of this league, and I look forward to being a part of it for a long time.
We're looking forward here to getting another season started. Congratulations on the win, but more importantly, congratulations on being crowned a Challenger Cup Series champion here in the first season of 2025. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate it at least for a week, but we'll see you here in a week's time in Atlanta for the start of season 2.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
John Velocity, champion of season 1 in 2025 here in the Challenger Cup Series, and we'll now start to close the book on this season. We'll do a little bit of that. We'll do a little bit of opening the book on next season as well, and give you a little bit of an idea of how that is going to look over the course of the next several weeks. Closing the book on this season, beyond tonight. Tonight, good race, strategy. I've talked about how much I like strategy races, but tonight, with the championship involved and championship guys on different strategies and all over the place, how cool was tonight? And it comes down to a battle at the end where 2 of the championship guys are toe-to-toe trying to run the best lap times they can. We get a caution on top of it all, a patented late restart in a Game 7 race. Again, tale as old as time in this system. And in the end, John Velocity defends both times against the best driver in the series on points, on stats. All season, Harold Watkins has been the class of the field. John Velocity is able to hold him off, right the wrongs of last season, and complete a run to a championship here in 2025. What a race tonight. Overall this season, a lot of fun. And, certainly I hope I've been able to come across as fun as this is. As fun as this series has been, certainly it's had its fair share of insane moments. Daytona was a great finish. Darlington was a field strategy race. Same with Kansas. Martinsville had strategy. Charlotte was, a banger from start to finish. By far my favorite race probably of the season. And this season was a lot of fun to call, to be a part of. And I'll in a second we'll bring Matt Hayden back in here as well, because I feel like when you come into some of these leagues, from an outsider, from a viewer's perspective, you're like, man, 13 cars, 14 cars, like how good can the racing be? It's not a full field. Go back and watch the 17 races this season and tell me you can't have good racing with 14 cars on track. The competition this season, the level of competition, how heated it got at times, by the way, at Charlotte. You heard a couple guys mention that as well, with the scuffles that we had, but with the great racing that we had. You don't have to have 40 cars. You just have to have a bunch of guys that are fast, that know how to race each other, and they can go put on a show, and these guys did, and it was every week that something happened that was crazy. From plate racing, again, plate racing's wild, to the short track races where you had strategy and close racing and bumpers, and the mile and a halfs proved to be really, really good in this race car and in this season as well. You had a little bit of everything for everyone, and it was a lot of fun to call. We got the perspective from some of the guys that raced, and also some things behind the scenes as well. Big thank you to those guys. I could never do some of the things that those guys do. But we talked about Rusty talked about Harold, but Rusty as well for his role. Matt here in the booth with me for his role. A lot of guys behind the scenes that make this thing go, and that give me a really easy job to come up here and talk into a microphone and come out here and enjoy the races and get to show them to you all as well. So a lot of fun here for me in season 1. Matt, we'll bring you back in now. You were a driver in the series, so a little bit kind of like Rusty's perspective. Close the book here on season 1. Your reflections on this first season, and of course in a moment we'll talk about season 2 of here 2025 as well.
Yeah, it's man, you talked a little bit about the depth of field. Obviously, we had kind of smaller numbers. Obviously, we're kind of kicking this off. It's a lot of we all knew each other. We all raced with each other, and we wanted to kind of do our own thing on our own night. And so, as far as our outreach with drivers, it's kind of a closed little circle of guys. But we're doing some things right now. We've got several people signed on for this coming season. But you were talking about the level of competition that we had to face, especially bringing on someone like Christian, which from Gen 4 leagues that we've raced, what kind of speed and stuff that he has, and obviously racing for a championship in his first go around last year, and being kind of a dominant car. But I'm just going back through some of the stats here. We had 9 different winners this season in our league. Even with that small of a field, I mean, you've got over half of our average has a win in the books in the half season we run, which is amazing to kind of have that, especially too when you think about one driver being as dominant as Watkins was. So it's just kind of cool to see where things have gone, and definitely for next season we've got some big things going on. We've got a lot more drivers coming in, and just can't wait to kick it off.
We're certainly looking forward to it as well. It's going to be a lot of fun to start next season, and kind of a nice segue. Let's talk about the book opening here on season number 2 here in 2025. A number of fun tracks here. John Velasquez, actually, he segued a little bit into it as well. A unique season, so let's open the book. Let's kind of give a preview of season 2 here in 2025. You might think there's an off season. Let me emphasize again for those that are still here in the live chat. There is no off season here in the Challenger Cup Series. You might be, we're going to take 2 months off. We're not going to take 2 months off. We're going to follow the NASCAR calendar. So again, very unique. We're going to go right back to it next week. Atlanta Motor Speedway, what better place to start, by the way. Saturday night in Atlanta, going to be a great race for NASCAR. Tuesday here on the Challenger Cup Series circuit, going to be a fun race for us as well. That's going to be a blast. But then it's a really unique section of this, of this league's schedule over the course of the whole calendar. Chicago Street Course. We'll see, kind of how guys fare. We heard John Velasquez. He's excited. He loves road courses, but we'll see, the first time we're on the streets. Then it's Sonoma, another road course. Dover follows that. We got Indy, Iowa, another road course, Watkins Glen, Richmond, Daytona comes back again towards the middle of August, the end of August. Darlington as well, another repeat. A trip to Gateway, another trip to Bristol, Loudon, another trip to Kansas. The Charlotte Roval, which by the way opens the playoffs, which if you've ever seen the Roval in NASCAR, boy, get ready for some chaos on that one. Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, Phoenix also included as repeat stops later in the playoffs as well. And then we'll of course have the Final Four, the big time Challenger Cup Series Championship on November 11th at Atlanta, the old tire grinder Atlanta at the end of the season. But look, let's take a second. Let's open the book on season 2. A bunch of unique tracks. What can we expect here going forward into this next season, Matt? What can we look forward to? It's a very unique schedule for this second season of this series.
Well, and you hit it right off the bat. Is 3 of the first 7 races are at road courses to start this season. So you'll have kind of a shakeup, I think, in points. Now, I'll tell you this, racing with some of these guys, this is probably the most depth we've had at road course aces. There's a lot of guys in this field that are really good running road. I mentioned before, your contenders for the championship, you've got Watkins, Velasquez are both excellent at road courses. Strader, unbelievable on road courses in the races I've run with him. So you've got a lot of guys that are really good at running road, and we kick off the season with 3 really, really tough ones: Chicago, it's a unique course. It's narrow. You can get yourself in trouble. You end up having some guys push it that are fast and get themselves wrecked out and get themselves in a hole early on. I mean, the second race, I mean, think about it too. With Atlanta being on the schedule in Chicago, you could start the season in such a hole that you're just grinding, trying to get back to the championship in a really long stretch of some really tough tracks.
Yeah, that first stretch, of course, 3 races. Who knows what's going to happen? Atlanta, Chicago, Sonoma. But then, you know, you go right from that, like you said, you could be in a hole. And then, by the way, it doesn't get any easier. Dover, not the easiest track in the world to negotiate. Indianapolis certainly is not. I mean, with dirty air the way it is now, especially, that's going to be a story. Iowa, not easy. Back to a road course, Watkins Glen, Richmond, and then we go plate racing again. And then it's unique tracks. It's Darlington, Gateway, Bristol, Loudon. Like, it is not an easy schedule by any means. So certainly drivers will be tested. It'll be a lot of fun. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you don't hit your normal mile-and-a-half cookie cutter until we're the second race in the first round of playoffs. Well, I'm sorry, right before you kick off playoffs, we'll hit Kansas. So it is a lot of very unique, very technical tracks. So I would think that this would probably be the toughest stretch that anyone would run for a championship season, especially for a full Cup season.
We look forward to that with obviously NASCAR making some schedule changes. We're adapting on the fly as well. And boy, drivers, they're going to be tested here in the next several weeks. And it starts next Tuesday night from Atlanta. We'll wrap up Pocono. We'll wrap up Season 1. John Velocity, the champion of Season 1 of the Challenger Cup Series. But it all gets started again next week at Atlanta. Next Tuesday night, same time, same verse, new season, 8:30 p.m. here on the PGR eSports Network. I'll be back after taking a trip down to Atlanta to watch that race on Saturday night. We'll be back to start the Challenger Cup Series season on Tuesday night. Right back here as usual, starting off season number 2. The race to another championship begins. 1 complete, 1 in the books, and John Velocity can celebrate, but only for 7 days. Then he's on defense as the defending Challenger Cup Series champion. Will he go back-to-back? We'll have to wait and see. A lot of drivers will be hungry, and it all starts next Tuesday night in the Peach State. Thanks so much for coming out for all of Season 1. I had a lot of fun. I will be back for Season 2, and as long as these guys let me keep sticking around for the Challenger Cup Series, I'll continue to be back. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I hope you all have enjoyed watching it as well. These drivers put on a show all season. They're going to get right back to it again next Tuesday night in Atlanta. My name is Dawson Wise. For my broadcast partner for the last part of this race, Matt Hayden. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage on PGR eSports. Join us next week for Season 2 of the Challenger Cup Series as we get going from Atlanta. Until then, John Velocity is your Season 1 champion, and he'll celebrate only for 7 days.